Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're digging into something really specific, a single powerful speech given way back in 1974. But this wasn't just any speech. It was a blueprint, a launchpad for a global movement, all starting on American soil. And it gives us this incredible look at how you turn belief into a plan for action.
So who's saying this? The man behind these words was Reverend Sun Myung-moon. And in 1974, when he looked at the United States, he didn't just see a country. No, he saw it as the perfect stage, the only stage for the global mission he had in mind. And you can just feel the excitement in his words. He was ready to go.
All right, let's paint the picture. It's August 16th, 1974. We're in Barrytown, New York. Reverend Moon is up there talking to followers who've flown in from all over the world. Now, these folks had just spent more than a year doing intense missionary work all across the U.S., and they're all there to find out what's next.
And he gets it. He knows they're worn out. So he kicks things off by acknowledging, their fears, their struggles being in a foreign land. But then he totally flips the script. He tells them, look, that wasn't just a hard time. That was your training. That was the prep for the real mission, which is about to start right now.
But before he could get into the grand plan, he had to lay some groundwork. He needed everyone on the same page with a shared moral foundation. And it all came down to one really fundamental question about good versus evil. See, for a movement like this to really work, you can't have any gray areas. The speech had to give a super clear, public, black and white definition for these two ideas. No room for confusion. So first up, goodness. In this way of thinking, good is always pointed outward. It's all about doing things for other people. A genuinely good act is something that wouldn't just be praised today, but would be welcomed by people in the past and people in the future. It builds bridges. It makes friends.
And evil, then, is the total opposite. It's all about turning inward. It's selfish. It cuts you off from the world. And in this view, when you act only for yourself, you're essentially building the walls of your own prison. So you can see the stark choice he's presenting, right? One path is about being public, about building a legacy and connections that last. The other is all about you, and it leads to being isolated and ultimately rejected.
And then, bam, he takes that definition and aims it right at his host country. He looks at American society and says, this intense focus on the individual here, that's a problem. He even calls it a cousin to evil. This was the very thing his movement was here to fix.
Okay, so if individualism is the disease, what's the cure? Well, the speech presents a very specific answer. It comes in the form of an ideal person, what he calls the person of central value. And this is that person's life. It's basically a hierarchy of service. You can see how it works. It's like these expanding circles of responsibility. The individual lives for their family. The family lives for the larger group, the clan or nation. The nation lives for the entire world. And then the world lives for the cosmos. Everything. The whole spiritual and physical shebang.
But, this wasn't just some nice idea to think about. The speech made it crystal clear that this was a full-time, lifelong commitment. True goodness wasn't something you felt, it was something you did. It had to be proven over and over through selfless actions and rock-solid faith. Which brings us right back around to where we started. Why America? Out of all the places in the world, why was this the stage he was so thrilled about?
Well, the choice of America was anything but random. It was highly strategic. The speech points out it's a melting pot, a place where national identities are a bit more fluid. But just as important, it was seen as a place where you could make a really big splash, a major stir, without getting completely shut down by the powers that be.
And all this energy, all this training and philosophy was being aimed at one single make-or-break event, a massive rally at Madison Square Garden in New York. Moon literally called it the toll gate. If they could succeed there, it wasn't just a win in America. It was the key that would open the door to the entire world.
Because, and this is the thing, even a sold-out Madison Square Garden was never the finish line. It wasn't even close. It was just the starting gun. The real plan was this massive global expansion, all worked out and ready to go the second that rally was a success.
And the scale of this plan was just, wow. Get this. The vision was to immediately send out 360 missionaries directly from America. And their job was to fan out and reach 120 different nations. I mean, they were planning to basically blanket the globe with their message,
all launched from this one night in New York City. And this is where you see the true scale of the ambition. This was never just about religious outreach. The long-term plan was to build institutions with real global clout, a university that would be #1 in the world, a global marine business, even a new award system designed to be more prestigious than the Nobel Prize.
Now, to build all of that, well, that would take a level of dedication that's hard to even imagine. And the speech demanded a very specific mindset from its followers, a kind of relentless resilience. No matter how many times you get knocked down, you get back up one more time, always one more time.
So, in the end, this 1974 speech is so much more than just a historical text. It's a complete blueprint. It lays out a simple, powerful moral code and connects it to a clear, incredibly ambitious global strategy. And it leaves you with this really big question. What does it actually take to turn a deeply held belief into a movement that can genuinely operate on a worldwide scale?